It seems like every day there's a new manufacturer hitting the market with a new e-moto, and I want to put together a video for you of the new Cunfon M200 e-moto pit bike. They say the top speed's 34 miles an hour. We're gonna test it. Although it is made in China, it was shipped from Jersey, FedEx. This showed up in just a regular FedEx truck. It only weighs about 150 pounds with all the packaging. They say the bike only weighs about 105 pounds total. Let's get it unboxed and assembled. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Alex with WeRideTwo. I wanna help you learn to ride more, but I wanna show you how to do it. So if you get this bike, you've got the instructions behind it, and you know what to expect when you get the package. So even though the box was a little damaged, it looks like everything is intact because it's protected by this metal cage. Just doing a quick walk around of the packaging. You can see it's metal framed, bolted together, covered in plastic to keep it pretty contained and safe. There's nothing really floating around inside. You've got the parts box up here. It's taped in, zip tied in. Now that I've got the plastic wrap off, I gotta say I love the look of the bike. I like it when they're making them look more like dirt bikes and less like bicycles, because let me be clear, this is an off-road bike. I intend to ride this, my son intends to ride this at motocross tracks and on trails. This is not a street legal motorcycle. But look at this. I was looking around for things to take off and make sure I get all the packaging off, and I see this yellow piece right here. It's just sitting in there. And then I realize this is part of the body that goes there. You can see there's a little bit of damage here. I'm calling this out because this is actually a good sign. You see how it's turning white right there? It didn't crack. Any pressure that was applied to this bent the plastic a little bit. It's on there pretty solid. This doesn't necessarily bother me because it's just superficial, but it's a good sign that this is good thick plastic. Now, if that kind of damage does bother you, I would recommend contacting the manufacturer or whomever you bought it from to see if you can get that addressed. It's just a plastic panel. They might be able to replace it for you. So inside that pack, we had the assembly guide, we had the user's manual, the front number plate, battery charger, foot pegs, and a bit of hardware, including the kickstand, which needs to be bolted on, and your toolkit. Hopefully everything's in there that we need to assemble it. I'll let you know if there's anything missing. Pro tip, keep the nuts and bolts. Not for the bike, but for other stuff you got. When you're cutting off all these zip ties, make sure you are careful not to cut any of the brake lines or electrical cables. First thing I'm going to install is the handlebars. I got to take these caps off of the Allen keys that are in here, or the Allen bolts. We're going to remove the top cap, put the bars on, and then tighten those down. This is the included tool, by the way. Before you tighten it down, make sure they're straight. You have markers on the top of the bars you can look at to line up. Make sure it's even on both sides before you tighten anything down. Don't crank down too hard on these too. You can strip these out. I've seen that happen, and then your bars start to spin. Let's go through some quick specs before we get this bike completely together. Let's start with the wheels. We have a 12-inch rear wheel and a 14-inch front wheel, which makes this perfect beginner size bike. It's not too small. It's pit bike sized, 3,000 watt mid-drive motor, 48 volt battery. We've got hydraulic forks in the front. We've got an adjustable preload single spring in the back. The frame itself is a nice looking aluminum. I really like the look of the frame. It looks beefy, it looks strong, it looks like it can take the beating of an off-road ride. The entire motor and battery assemble is encased in plastic. There is venting for the controller in the front, but they say that this bike is close to waterproof. Don't submerge it, but you can ride in the rain, you can ride it through puddles, all kinds of off-road use. You do have real moto brakes on this with a pretty substantially thick disc, single piston caliper in the rear, dual piston caliper in the front, running real DOT fluid. While you are assembling this, before you have the wheel on, do not squeeze that front brake lever. There's not a safety on this. You could pull this in and then you'd have to bleed the whole system again if you do it wrong. There is an actual metal subframe too, which I absolutely love on a bike of this price point, which is only $1,500. That means you have a structurally sound chassis all the way through. You've got an integrated mud guard that protects the shock from any type of mud and dirt that flings up from the tire. You have real moto bars. Do not take this cross piece off. Please don't do that. That's there for structural support. These shrouds are actually mounted to something, so if your legs are on there as a kid rider, you can squeeze on that like you would a normal dirt bike, and it's not going to just give way on you. That's cool. The rear tire is fairly aggressive for off-road use. Off-road use. Says right here, not to be used in traffic. There are real moto pegs, real dirt bike style pegs that go on this. There's not pedals. This is not an e-bike. This is an e-motorcycle. You do have a full twist throttle. Whoop, that is not snapping back. I'm gonna have to look at that, figure out why on that one. I'm sure you assumed it, but I like to do anything with motorcycles. So if you like motorcycles too, be sure to subscribe to the channel. They put the front wheel spacers on the axle in transport. Keep them in this order. The long one goes on the brake side, the short one goes on the non-brake side. We have to take the axle out to get this off to put the front wheel on. Let's do that now. Always grease the axle before you put it back in. This is a dry axle. You do not want to put a dry axle on this. This will help prevent any undue friction. These little sockets that they included are pretty cool. They function. They're not ratchets, but they work. Front wheel is on. Let's check the brakes. Pressure them first. So when you're putting the foot pegs on, you've got these springs. The open end goes on the peg. The hooked end goes on the frame. Slide it on like so. There will be tension when you push the pin through. Like that. And now, you have a tight foot peg. Don't forget the cotter pin. We don't want to forget the kickstand. The kickstand mounts to the frame with the 2 bolts that were in with the toolkit. Thread them in by hand first, and then use the included 10mm wrench to tighten it down. Next, we do the front fender. We could have done this before the front wheel. That might have made it a little bit easier. We got to take these 3 bolts out that are in the lower triple. I will say, the last bike that I put together, the bolts that hold the front fender on were held in with Loctite, and it was a total pain to get out. I don't have the issue with this bike. Be careful of metal shavings though. I don't know if that'll come up on camera, but sparkly. I just noticed something while putting on that front fender that I think is super, super cool. You can tell that they thought about this. On a full-size dirt bike, where's the brake line? It runs on the inside of the fork. On this bike, it runs on the inside of the fork. That is so good to see. Let me explain why that's good for just a quick second. If you were to crash a bike and the brake line is on the outside of the fork, you could snag that brake line on a root, on a foot, on something, and it rips the brake line off, and then you have no front brakes. That is a good forward-thinking thing that these guys are doing. Kudos to them for that. The 2 tabs on the bottom, press them into the front fender, should snap into place like that, and then put the little bolt back through, and you're practically done with the assembly. Once you get it assembled, you're probably super excited to get it going. The controller is over here to turn it on, but there's no power. You know why? You gotta take the seat off. It's a little quick turn thumb screw. Pull back and up. The battery's not connected yet. Gotta connect the battery before you get power. All right, now we have power. Now that we have power, the button to turn it on is on the right-hand side. This will be your primary screen. It shows your speed. You can toggle through, show your tripometer, full odometer, back to your speed. It starts you off in 0 mode. You can go mode 1, mode 2, and mode 3. I love that you can adjust this on the fly. It also shows your battery level on the right-hand side. Very easy to see. When I've got the bars where I think they should be, the levers are really, really high. This is just how they came, so we're gonna use the Allen key, loosen up the clamp a little bit, and then rotate them forward. Realistically, you want your wrist and your fingers to be in the same line while riding. That really is a cool looking bike. I can't deny that. I love the casing. The frame design is awesome, nice and tight to the body. That way your boots can hug on that, not worry about bolts sticking out. The swing arm looks nice and strong. Proportionally, it looks like a dirt bike. It looks like it should. So on the website, it says 23.5 amp hours. This actually says 20 amp hours. So I'm hopeful that we can get the range out of this battery that we really need to. It is not a quick release battery. You have to take the seat off and then you have to undo this bolt as well as undoing the power cord. But I gotta say, I'm loving this frame. It looks so well put together. The fact that it goes back under the fender right here and is tubular frame all the way through, it looks nice and strong. On their website and on their Amazon listings, they say the weight capacity is 220 pounds. I don't know that I necessarily agree with it, and here's a major reason why. On the frame, it's stamped that the weight limit is 60 kilograms. That's only about 130 pounds. I am about 155 pounds. If I sit on this bike, it doesn't bottom out. I feel like I could ride it. But if I were to take it on a motocross track, I probably would bottom it out. I feel like this is best for teens under that 130 pound mark. You probably heard me mentioning my son throughout this video, and that's who the primary rider of this bike is going to be. He is 11 years old, almost 12 years old, weighs about 80 pounds, and is almost 5 feet tall. I measured the actual seat height. From the ground to the top of the seat, it is 26.5 inches. But that puts you at a pretty small kid. So I think anybody probably 7 and up would be good on this bike. One thing I'd love to add is that when I built this bike, I only used the tools that came in the included toolkit, with the exception of my impact driver to take apart the metal cage with the size 10 socket. That was it. That's pretty sweet. I really only needed 3 or 4 tools and it worked just fine. No issues at all. The suspension is not a pro level suspension by any means. There's a little bit of stiction on the forks. I can add some lubricant to that to see if it'll help. There's the adjustable preload on the rear, but there's nothing on the front, so you're kind of stuck with the suspension as it is. Let's head to the motocross track. We're gonna load up, go ride this weekend. Let's go rip some laps.
That's fine, Pete.
Go have fun.
I'll try. It was a pretty, it handled it pretty well. There were a few jumps that, I had to, save myself from crashing, though. The suspension, it's different than the RAR. The throttle was really good.
Now, you do look a little tall on the bike. Do you feel tall on it?
Yeah, man, this looks like a little toy.
What age do you think you would have liked to be on this size bike?
7 to 9.
Okay. And would you put a beginner on here?
Yes.
Okay.
Just not on this track.
So Now I know I said that the weight limit was either 220 or 130. I'm 155, so let's see what I can do on this thing on the track. I'm also 6 feet tall, so let's see how it goes. Mode 3 for sure. I am gonna go around that step up the first time. It's actually got a decent bit of torque. Now the sand is a bit struggling with me being on it, being so tall. Suspension's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. This is a fun little bike. Oh! Definitely cased that jump. Hope I didn't break anything. I didn't crash. It's a good sign. All right, sand turn. I'm actually kind of impressed. Whoa. How about the whoops? Not terrible again. Now, at 40 years old, 6 feet tall and 155 pounds, this is clearly not a bike for me. But kids would absolutely love this thing, man. Yeah. That's pretty cool. That was fun. He's definitely preferring the RAR, but I wanted him to do some more laps on this bike so he gets a good feel for it. I like the throttle control of it. The seat is a bit hard, but generally speaking, that's totally fine. It's got a decent amount of power, even at the top speed of 34 miles per hour. It's a solid little beginner bike. I do want to let you know that Cunfon did send me this bike in exchange for the video, but I made no promises that I would say anything good. I have it in writing that I could be 100% honest with you as the viewer. And honestly, I do really enjoy this bike. I think it's a fantastic starter bike. It has a low seat height, has a good strong motor, and an easy, smooth throttle with good brakes. Those are all good things to get somebody on two wheels. I have been making e-moto content for quite a while, so I'll put the playlist here for that. If you like anything with two wheels and a motor, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more content coming. I hope this was helpful for you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one.